Friday, July 26, 2019, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Tomorrow being the 300th and 25th anniversary of the Bank of England, I'm going to borrow Keynes' expression he used, or term he used for the gold standard back in the 30s. He called it a barbarous relic. I'm going to call central banks a barbarous relic today, and I'm going to give you my opinion or my strategy on how to make sure that central banks don't last forever, that we get rid of these institutions that are completely against freedom, free markets, sound money, liberty. And why do I say that? Well, because central banks only exist through government monopoly, through legislation. They have the monopoly to control the issuance of money. Yes, they used to be private, the Bank of England until recently. The Federal Reserve is a hybrid. It's public and private. And so what's my strategy to chip away at the power of the central banks? Well, the first one is doing what I'm doing here, trying to expose them. A lot of people, I see comments below in a lot of my videos when I talk about central banks and criticize central banks. People say, oh, people will never know about this. We have to accept central banks. I personally think that's a negative way to look at it. I mean, 15, 16 years ago, when I already knew that central banks were an institution that we don't need, very few people even talked about sound money, about precious metals. And now, here in 2019, we get more and more people learning about it. So I think that's the only way. Try to expose it through information, through trying to explain to people the nature of money and how we don't need central banks. That's the first one. The second one, and a very important one as well, is to try to stop dealing with the system, the banking system, which is basically an agent of the central banks. You try to deal as little as possible with the central banks, well, indirectly with the central banks. You try to hold, if you're lucky enough and fortunate enough to have savings, to try to hold that savings outside the banking system with precious metals, with other assets like cryptocurrencies as well are outside the system. Try to make sure you have your own property, your own house, that you try to pay off your mortgage as quickly as possible. Or if not, don't even get a mortgage. Have assets that are totally outside the system. Thirdly, try to, and that's a hard one because there's a lot of peer pressure, but try to live within your means. Try to not have to borrow, because every time you borrow, you are feeding the system, because the central banking fiat money system is one based on endless debt. They want you to stay in debt. They want you to spend. They don't want you saving and living within your means. The other thing is to try to turn away or turn off the mainstream media. I wish I had done that a lot earlier. I actually remember back in the mid-late 80s, my sister had a friend at university, and he was from Barbados, of all places, and he was a clever guy, and one time he told me, never watch television. And that was a good, how can I say, advice. And why do I say that? Well, you watch television, you're going to watch the BBC or CNN or CNBC. You're going to get all the propaganda. I'm not saying that you can't read an article here and there where they have a clip from those places, but, and even if you are going to watch it, if you're going to read the FT, like I have subscribed to the FT, take it with a pinch of salt. do it for the information, right? And yes, don't be brainwashed. That's how you get out of it, in my opinion. So it's 7:55 a.m. now. So let's look at where the markets are this morning. We've got spot gold, which yesterday rallied quite strongly up to 1434 and then turned around and went all the way back down to 1410. I still think it's going to be quite volatile, but we're still consolidating, and I think the next move is higher for precious metals. That's the other thing as well. Central bankers cannot control precious metals if we all keep stacking. And that's why I always recommend people take physical delivery of precious metals, if possible. Yes, there are other ways to hold precious metals, and you can do that. But in the long term, I think that's the best way. So right now, gold is up about $3.50 at 14.18. The range has been 14.13 and 14.18. So we're near the highs. Silver took a hit yesterday and made a new high up to 16.66. Right now, we're up 2.5 cents at 16.43. The Dow is down 4 points, 27,150. S&P 3010, that's up 5. We've got the NASDAQ 100 future up 64 or 0.8%, just below 8,000. The pound is down 0.2% this morning at 124.30. Euro is unchanged, 111.44. Dollar is down nominally against the yen at 108.60. And the dollar is up 0.1% against the yuan, 687.89. Crude oil, WTI is up 0.5% or 32 cents, 56.38. Brent is up 0.4% at 63.55. Bond market, 10-year yield is at 207, unchanged. The 3-month is at 210, so there's an inversion there of 3 basis points. ECB yesterday came out, kind of mixed bag. I think the market wanted something right away, maybe, but looks like they're going to come with rate cuts in September. That's what Mario Draghi prepared the market for. They're going to come with more QE as well. I'm not sure if that's going to be in September. He's leaving, of course, I think in October, his 8-year term, and then we get Christine Lagarde as the president of the ECB. And don't forget, it was the one of the planks of the Communist Manifesto that said that you need to have centralized credit in a national bank. So do we really want to be slaves to the central bankers? Because as one of the Rothschilds said in the 19th century, and I always come back to this, and many people know now about this quote, something that people didn't even look at maybe 15 years ago. Give me control of the country's money supply, and I care not who makes the laws. You don't play their game, their debt-fueled game, and you try to stay away from the banks. And do what you have to do. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Make sure you share this video far and wide, as we need to get the information out there. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Steemit, and on DTube. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.